All right, a lot was said this weekend on the Sunday shows about the James Comey indictment by the federal grand jury, the Department of Justice, going after the former FBI director. I think it's the first time that's ever happened in our nation's history. Is it lawfare? Is it just? Is it Donald Trump going after his political enemies? Is it rooting out the waste, the fraud, the corruption that you've had within the Department of Justice? What really is going on here? Let's go make heads or tails of this as we run out to the WRVA Newsmaker hotline. He is a legal expert with an extensive experience in litigating complex matters and a founding member of the Biles Wilson Law Firm in Dallas, Texas. Dunham Biles is joining us right now, Fox News contributor, our guest here on Newsradio WRVA. Dunham, good morning. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Good morning. A pleasure to be on with you.
So when you saw this as a member of the bar and a litigator, when you saw the indictment against the former head of the FBI, what went through your mind?
That I'm a little concerned about the lack of detail in that indictment. Right now, as you'll listen to all the talking heads, they're speculating as to whether this has to do with Comey authorizing McCabe to make leaks, or whether this is his professor friend or what have you, and we can't tell. And there are some other things around the outside that lead to these talking heads saying that Trump's just out to get people, including, unfortunately, some of his comments, but also the timing of it and the former prosecutor who quit and the way this went down. All doesn't help on the looks of it, but at the end of the day, this has come down to the facts, as it always does. Did he or did he not make a misstatement, a false statement to Congress about the leaking? And I don't think we're in a position right now to know whether he did or not, but that's how this will play out.
Is there a difference between the word false statement and the word lie?
There's a difference between perjury and false statement, which has to do with whether you're under oath at the time. And I think the issue is whether you could get perjury when making a false statement to Congress is an issue versus you have, I believe, the statute directly on point for a false statement to Congress. So
we're talking right now with Dunham Biles, Fox News contributor, lawyer down in Texas. What bothers me is I want the justice system to be beyond reproach. I want the head of the FBI to be as squeaky clean as possible so we can trust that institution. I want the DOJ to not have any political bias one way or the other. Am I being naive here, or am I looking for what I think all Americans expect from our judicial system?
No, I would hope that's what we all expect, and I would hope that's what we get. But there's, unfortunately, it appears over time our institutions have deteriorated, and where it may have been more of the case, and sometime in the past that we had an unbiased system, and there are lots of reasons to be concerned, including James Comey's own statement where he said that Hillary Clinton, no reasonable prosecutor would have prosecuted her, and that wasn't even his job. He's the head of the FBI, not DOJ. He's not the prosecutors. So times have changed, and we see it, unfortunately, all the time.
Is this the clash of the changing times and the institutions, and the two of them are just kind of running smack dab into each other?
I think so. I would hope that somehow, some way, we clean this up. For example, the most disturbing thing to me is the Russia hoax, where we have apparently Clapper, Brennan, et al. Doing what they did, and we need to clean house. And I'm hopeful that's what's going to happen. I hope that's what's happening at DOJ, and it is part of what the Trump administration has said they've set out to do. And I hope that happens. I don't know whether or not this indictment is going to help that process or hinder it, but let's hope for all of Americans that we end up with a system that works better than it has been.
Dunham Biles joining us right now, Fox News contributor, founding member of the Biles Wilson Law Firm down in Dallas, Texas, making heads or tails of everything that we're seeing with the talking heads, the pundits, and the politicians that are trying to have talking points right now when it comes to the indictment of James Comey, the former director of the FBI. Is there a bit of hypocrisy on both sides? Because when it was the Obama administration, Biden administration, There are conservatives that thought, hey, you're coming after us. This is nothing but lawfare. We've seen them screaming, whether it's the FBI office here in Richmond going after the Catholic Church, going after 401c3s, going after different conservative causes. And now we see the Trump administration coming back over, and the Democrats are going, wait a minute, you're coming after your political enemies. The Republicans said, well, wait a minute, you broke the norm. Is there hypocrisy on both sides?
Hypocrisy in politics, yes, there is. We've been full of it for a long time now, and yes, this is a case of hypocrisy when the Democrats are yelling and screaming about this is just vengeance. Well, I don't know what they think Alvin Bragg was doing in New York or Fannie Willis was doing down in Georgia, other than exactly that. And this is where we've come. It used to be, I think, a time where both sides had some degree of principles and would stick by them. And I think, unfortunately, we've come to the point where, at this point, both sides are going after each other and don't want to have one hand tied behind their back based on principles. And principles are going by the side, and we're just in a constant state of fighting.
As a member of the bar, as someone who's dedicated your life to the law, upholding the Constitution and representing people and making sure that Lady Justice keeps that blindfold on, how does that make you feel when you see our government institutions, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, and you see this lawfare that goes on?
No, it drives me crazy. Our system is we're not supposed to be trying to change the world through litigation. That's why we elect politicians. That's why we have elections. That's why we vote in Congress or otherwise. And now we've turned it into just a legal fight because some people think that they can get a better decision out of an unelected judge or a jury than the political system. And that's not what's supposed to be going on.
So is this a breakdown, in your opinion, of the legal system, or is this a breakdown of of Congress and the president? Because it seems like we're seeing everybody running to get this injunction, that injunction, instead of doing the people's work by going through the House, the Senate, and having the president sign bills. It seems like the executive orders and lawsuits to get things done by unelected officials.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think all of that is a symptom of the breakdown of our culture. I don't. The politicians are just humans too. And they're falling victim to changes going on in our culture where we no longer seem to believe in some of the very things that make our country the greatest one that's ever been on the face of this planet. We don't believe in our institutions. We don't believe in the limits of government that are set forth in our Constitution. And now it's whatever it takes to get to your end.
So for lawyers, and again, I could Google and come up with their ChatGPT and come up with 50 million lawyer jokes right now, and I'm sure you've heard them all. But it is the lawyers that are supposed to respect the law and defend our Constitution, and you're part of that judicial system, you're part of the justice system. How do lawyers try to improve this, or how do they stand up and go, wait a minute, guys, this isn't right?
Yeah, there are some times where that can happen, but at the end of the day, we lawyers on the litigation side are in essence hired to zealously represent our clients, and that's what we'll do. And so I don't often get too upset with my fellow lawyers, even the ones that are on the opposite side of me. But there are certainly times where lawyers have taken cases that go way too far. What really offends me, though, is that when that happens in the criminal context. Because there's one thing in my civil litigation where I have two companies suing each other, et cetera. It's another thing where you have life, liberty at stake, and you have different requirements for those lawyers. And I think we need to be much more careful when we're threatening people's liberty. General Flynn's case always comes to mind as something that should have never happened.
Well, it's so funny you say that. One of my best friends is a Superior Court judge in California. We went to school together. We were fraternity brothers. And I ask him all the time about his job. He said, when I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to grant someone bail or not, or whether we're going to hold them or release them, or when I'm sentencing him, he goes, you know what I have to decide? Whether I have the right reason to take away their liberty. And I'm like, what? And he goes, I have to decide whether I'm going to lock them up and take away their liberty. And he goes, Rich, That's something that weighs on me all the time, and I never take it lightly. And I was amazed when he made that statement to me, because I never thought of it that way, that when we're talking about Comey, Flynn, Donald Trump, whoever, we're talking about taking away their liberty, and that's something that we should all be defending and making sure that it's not being used for political purposes or being made light of.
That's exactly right.
Hey,
And go ahead.
Dunham, I was going to say, I've enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate you coming on with us and kind of shedding some light and giving us some things to think about this morning.
Well, I appreciate being on, and hope you and all your listeners have a great day.
Thank you so much. Dunham Biles joining us right now, Fox News contributor, legal expert, our guest here on News Radio WRVA.